Hello, my name is Kanute, and I'm going to tell you a story about an old possum. There once was an old possum that lived in a woods way up on the side of the mountain. Lived in that woods, and he lived in this wonderful old dead tree that had a wonderful hole with a hollow in it that the possum could make its home. It would sleep in that hole every night, get all its rest, and come out every morning refreshed and ready for a new day. And the possum was known throughout the woods as a possum with a big heart, known as Mr. Possum. And old Mr. Possum would come out, had been coming out for years, and would go through the woods each day and would offer to help other animals. It would come along and it would help the rabbits, and it would help the squirrels, and it would help the birds gather things for their nest, and it would help the deer and help the raccoon. It helped all the animals, and it made its heart just beat so strongly and to feel so much love. And for that reason, that possum did that every day. One day, instead of going out during its normal journeys around the woods and around the forest to help other animals, decided to go to town. And it took the road that was on the way up to town. It hadn't been on that road for a long time, but Mr. Possum headed up that road. And as he headed up that road, way up ahead on the road, he saw something that he'd never seen before. He saw a hole right there in the center of the road. And he walked up carefully to it and started around it and kept his distance around it and just kept shuffling on forward up the road, old Mr. Possum. And then he heard it. He heard, "Help, help me, help me." And the possum, old Mr. Possum, looked around and he realized then that sound was coming from that hole. And he stepped over very carefully, and he stepped over to that hole, and he looked down into the hole. And as he looked down into the hole, he saw at the bottom of the hole a big snake. And the big snake had a big rock on it, and the hole was deep. And as he looked down in the hole, Snake looked up and said, Oh, Mr. Possum, please help me, please help me. I'm down in this hole, I can't get out. This rock is on top of me. Well, old Mr. Possum looks down at Snake and goes, "Snake, you're a snake. I'm a possum. If I help you, you'll bite me." Old Snake looks around and he goes, maybe not, maybe not, maybe not. Well, old Possum looks at him again and the Snake says, "Please help me, I need help." Oh, Mr. Possum remembers how much he enjoyed helping other animals, how much it made his heart sing. And as he did that, he looked down and he thought, "Okay, I'll help. I'll get that rock off of you." So he went over and got a long stick and he put that stick down underneath there and he flipped the rock off of him, threw the stick out in the brush, turned around and started to walk off. And as he started to walk off, old Snake said, "Oh, Mr. Possum, Mr. Possum, oh, Mr. Possum, please help me, please help me." Mr. Possum turned around and looked back in the hole, and Snake said, and old Mr. Possum said, What do you want me to do? I got that rock off of you." And he says, "Oh," Mr. Snake says, I'm down in this hole. I'm cold. I don't have any way of getting out. It's so slick. The sides are so slick." And he said, "But I'll." Possum says, Wait. If I get you out of here, you're going to bite me." Oh, Mr. Snake goes, Maybe not, maybe not, maybe not. Well, old Possum looks for a second and thinks, well, he loves how it makes his heart feel to help other animals. And he says, "Okay, I'll help you. I'll get you out this one time." And he got that stick again and he brought it down. And he put it into that hole. He lifted Possum out and threw him over to the side and threw the stick aside and started up the road real quick. Old Snake starts to screaming again. Help me, Mr. Possum, help me, old Mr. Possum, help me." Well, Mr. Possum stops and he looks. He says, "Hey, I got that rock off of you, Snake, and I got you up out of that hole, Snake. What's the problem now?" Well, Snake says, "Well, I'm cold. I've been cold. I've been down in that hole. I haven't been able to move. That rock was on top of me. I'm cold. Could you please put me in your pocket to help me warm up?" Well, Mr. Possum looks at Snake and goes, "Mr. Snake, I'm not going to help you. If I help you, you'll bite me." Oh, Mr. Snake looks at Possum and looks around and goes, "Maybe not. Maybe not. Maybe not." Well, Possum looks down at him and goes, "Okay, just this time I'll put you in my pouch here and we'll warm you up." And he carefully picked up Snake and he put the big snake down in his pouch in his possum. The snake was really still and really cold. And old Mr. Possum starts up the road. And as he starts up the road, he's heading up the road and he's heading up the road. And all of a sudden he feels that snake moving just around, just a little bit inside of him. And as he kept moving around, he stops and he looks down and he wonders what that snake's doing in there. And he reached down and opened up his little pouch and he put his hand in very carefully and put it down in there. And he bit him right. He grabbed the snake, threw him out on the ground. "Snake, Snake, what did you do, Snake? You bit me. Snake, you bit me," old Mr. Possum said. Old Mr. Possum said. Snake looked up at me and goes, "Oh, Mr. Possum, I'm a snake. That's what snakes do." Well, Mr. Possum looked at the snake. He thought for a moment. He thought and he realized, yeah, if someone hurt someone else, if that's the way they operate, if they hurt other people, other animals, other things, if they hurt them, they won't change their ways. They'll always hurt them. Well, Mr. Possum thought about it for a second and he thought about, if you see trouble coming, just go the other way. And trouble's trouble. Don't let trouble you. Thank you.